You've been renting for 6 years. Every month, $1,800 disappears into your landlord's pocket. That's $129,600 over 6 years that built exactly zero equity for you. You tell yourself it's temporary, that you're saving for a down payment, that you'll buy when the market calms down. Except the market isn't calming down. Home prices keep climbing, your rent keeps increasing, and that down payment goal keeps moving further away, no matter how much you save. Here's the reality nobody wants to say out loud. If you're following traditional advice about saving for a home, you will be renting forever. The math doesn't work anymore. The timeline doesn't work. The entire system has fundamentally changed, and most people are still playing by 1995 rules in 2026. But there's a specific sequence of actions that can actually get you into a home. And I'm going to show you exactly what that is by the end of this video. My name is Don, and I create educational content about investing, personal finance, and building wealth. If you're tired of throwing money at rent and want to understand what it actually takes to buy a home in 2026, make sure to subscribe and hit the like button. The down payment treadmill. Let's start with why traditional saving strategies guarantee you'll never buy. The median home price in America is approximately $400,000. Most lenders want 20% down to avoid PDMI and get decent rates. That's $80,000 you need to save before you can even think about buying. Now let's look at what it takes to save $80,000. If you're putting away $500 per month, that's 160 months. That's over 13 years. But here's the problem. While you're saving, home prices aren't sitting still. Research from the Federal Housing Finance Agency shows home prices have been appreciating at an average of 5 to 7% annually over the past decade. Run the math. You start today trying to save $80,000 for a $400,000 house. In 13 years, when you finally have the down payment, that same house is now worth $710,000 at 5% annual appreciation. Your down payment needs to be $142,000. You're not catching up. You're falling further behind every single month. This is the treadmill. Home prices appreciate faster than most people can save. Every year you're renting, the target moves further away. Studies from Zillow show that in competitive markets, home prices are appreciating 8 to 12% annually. At that rate, saving traditionally means never buying. The goalposts move faster than you can run. The rent-to-price death spiral. Here's what makes this even worse. Your rent isn't staying constant while you save. The average rent increase in America is 3 to 5% annually. You're paying $1,800 now. In 5 years, that'll be $2,200. In 10 years, $2,700. Meanwhile, a mortgage payment on a $400,000 house at 7% interest is about $2,400 per month, including taxes and insurance. So you're renting at $1,800 telling yourself you can't afford to buy because the mortgage would be $2,400. But in 5 years, your rent will be higher than that mortgage payment would have been, and you still won't own anything. Research from the Joint Center for Housing Studies at Harvard shows that renters are spending an increasingly larger percentage of their income on housing than homeowners. The wealth gap between renters and homeowners continues to widen. Every year you rent, you fall further behind people who own. The equity gap compounds brutally. Someone who bought a $400,000 house 5 years ago now has approximately $100,000 in equity from appreciation plus principal paydown. You've paid $108,000 in rent over that same period and have zero equity. They're $208,000 ahead of you financially, and the gap grows every month. The income qualification trap. But it's not just about the down payment. Lenders use debt-to-income ratios to qualify you. Your total monthly debt payments, including the new mortgage, can't exceed 43% of your gross monthly income in most cases. Some lenders go to 50%, but that's pushing it. Let's do the math. That $400,000 house with a $2,400 monthly payment requires you to make at least $67,000 annually to qualify at 43% DTI. But that's assuming you have zero other debt. No car payment, no student loans, no credit card balances. Data from the Federal Reserve shows that the average American has $738 in monthly debt payments before a mortgage. Car loans, student loans, credit cards, all of it. Add that to the $2,400 mortgage, and you're at $3,138 in total debt payments. At 43% DTI, you'd need to make $87,500 annually to qualify. The median individual income in America is $48,000. Most people don't qualify for most homes, even if they somehow saved the down payment. The income requirement eliminates them before the down payment does. The credit score barrier? Then there's credit. Lenders want to see a 620 minimum credit score for most mortgages, but you really need 740 plus to get decent rates. Research from FICO shows that 16% of Americans have credit scores below 580. Another 18% are in the 580 to 669 range. That's over 1/3 of Americans who either can't qualify or will pay significantly higher interest rates. And here's the trap. If you're struggling to save because rent is eating your income, you're probably also occasionally missing payments or carrying credit card balances. That destroys your credit score. Your financial struggle makes you a worse borrower, which makes qualifying harder, which keeps you renting, which perpetuates the struggle. Studies from the Urban Institute show that renters typically have credit scores 30 to 50 points lower than homeowners of similar income levels. Renting itself creates financial stress that damages your ability to stop renting. The real reason you're stuck. Here's what nobody wants to admit. The traditional path to homeownership, save 20% down, have perfect credit, low debt to income, stable employment, that path no longer works for most Americans. It's not that you're doing it wrong, it's that the economics have fundamentally shifted and the advice hasn't. In 1992, the median home price was 3.2 times median household income. You could reasonably save for a down payment while renting. In 2026, the median home price is 5.8 times median household income. The math broke. Saving traditionally means never catching up. Research from the National Association of Realtors shows that the average first-time homebuyer now puts down just 8%, not 20%. They're using FHA loans, they're getting help from family, they're finding programs that don't require massive down payments. Because 20% is a fantasy for most people. What actually works? So how do you actually buy if traditional saving doesn't work? You have to completely change your approach. Here's the sequence that can actually get you into a home within 3 to 5 years instead of never. Step 1. Stop trying to save 20% down. It's not happening for most people. FHA loans require just 3.5% down. Conventional loans can go as low as 3% for first-time buyers. On that $400,000 house, 3.5% is $14,000. That's achievable in 2 to 3 years, saving $500 monthly, even accounting for home price appreciation. Yes, you'll pay PMI. Yes, your interest rate might be slightly higher, but you'll be building equity instead of building your landlord's equity. Research shows that even with PMI, homeowners build wealth faster than renters in almost every market. Step 2. Attack your debt-to-income ratio aggressively. That $738 in average monthly debt payments is killing your qualification. Every dollar of monthly debt you eliminate increases your buying power by roughly $200 in home price. Pay off that $400 car payment, and you can qualify for an $80,000 more expensive home. Studies from the Mortgage Bankers Association show that debt to income is a bigger barrier to homeownership than down payment for most millennials and Gen Z buyers. Focus on eliminating monthly obligations, not just saving cash. Step 3. Consider markets where the math actually works. If you're in San Francisco or New York, the income required to buy is genuinely unattainable for most people. But research from Realtor.com shows there are still 150 plus metro areas where median home prices are under 4 times median income. Sometimes the solution is geographic. I'm not saying uproot your life, but if you're dead set on homeownership and you're in a market where it's mathematically impossible on your income, staying there guarantees permanent renting. Step 4. Look into first-time homebuyer programs. Every state has assistance programs. Down payment assistance, closing cost grants, favorable loan terms. These exist specifically for people who can't save traditional down payments. Research from the National Council of State Housing Agencies shows these programs go largely underutilized because people don't know they exist. Your state housing finance agency has programs. Use them. That's not cheating. That's using available resources to overcome a broken system. Step 5. Get uncomfortable with the house you buy. Your first home doesn't need to be your dream home. It needs to be the home that gets you off the renting treadmill. A smaller house, a worse neighborhood, a fixer-upper, these aren't failures, they're stepping stones. Studies tracking homeowner wealth show that people who bought starter homes and traded up later built significantly more wealth than people who waited to buy their perfect home. Equity from appreciation and principal paydown on a mediocre house beats zero equity from renting a nice apartment. The 3-year plan. Here's what a realistic path to homeownership looks like in 2026. Year 1. Eliminate as much monthly debt as possible. Focus on debt to income, not savings. Get your credit score above 680 minimum. Research first-time buyer programs in your state. Year 2, save aggressively for a 3 to 5% down payment, plus closing costs. For a $350,000 house, that's roughly $15,000 to $20,000 total. Cutting your rent by getting a roommate or moving to a cheaper place can save $500 to $800 monthly. That's $6,000 to $10,000 per year. Year 3, continue saving while monitoring your target market. Get pre-approved early so you know exactly what you qualify for. When you hit your down payment goal, move fast. Don't wait for the perfect house or the perfect market timing. The difference between this approach and traditional advice? This is designed for the economy that actually exists, not the economy boomers experienced. This acknowledges that 20% down is unrealistic for most people and optimizes for getting off the rent treadmill as quickly as possible. The wealth gap acceleration. Every year you delay buying widens the wealth gap between you and homeowners. Research from the Federal Reserve shows that the median net worth of homeowners is $255,000. The median net worth of renters is $6,300. That's a 40 times difference, and it compounds annually. Homeownership isn't just about having a place to live. It's forced savings through principal paydown, wealth accumulation through appreciation, and inflation protection through fixed mortgage payments. Renters get none of that. They pay increasing rent while building zero equity. Studies from the Urban Institute project that millennials who rent permanently will retire with 60% less wealth than previous generations who bought homes. The homeownership decision isn't just about where you live. It's about your entire financial trajectory for the rest of your life. The bottom line, you will be renting forever if you keep waiting to save 20% down in a market where home prices appreciate faster than you can save. The traditional path is broken. The math doesn't work. Accepting that is the first step. The second step is committing to the path that actually works. Low down payment loans, aggressive debt reduction, utilizing assistance programs, being flexible on location and property type. It's not glamorous. It won't get you your dream home immediately, but it gets you off the treadmill. 5 years from now, you'll either have 5 years of equity in a home you own or 5 years of rent receipts for a place you'll never own. The system isn't going to fix itself. Home prices aren't going to crash and make everything affordable. Interest rates might moderate slightly, but they're not going back to 3%. You have two choices. Accept that you'll rent forever and plan your financial life accordingly, or commit to the specific, unglamorous steps required to buy in an economy that's stacked against first-time buyers. One path leads to building wealth slowly through homeownership. The other guarantees you'll be transferring wealth to landlords for the rest of your life. The timeline is 3 to 5 years if you're aggressive, not 13 years saving for 20% down. Not someday when the market's better. 3 to 5 years of focused execution on a plan designed for 2026 economics, not 1995 economics. Stop waiting for perfect conditions. Stop trying to save down payments that become unattainable before you reach them. Start playing the game that actually exists, using the tools that actually work. Your future self, living in a home they own instead of a rental they're building equity for someone else, will thank you for making the hard choice now. The wealth gap between homeowners and permanent renters will define your financial future more than almost any other single decision. Choose which side of that gap you want to be on, then do what's actually required to get there.